Good morning and welcome. I'm Lisa Spencer, your Master of Ceremonies, and it is my honor to welcome you to Mayor Freddie O'Connell's State of the Metro Address. In 4 short months, we've seen Metro EMTs respond to more than 49,000 calls for help, pick up more than 60 tons of litter off our streets, begin the foundational projects of the Choose How to Move transportation improvements, do the little things well, and remind us of the many ways local government can support our shared flourishing. I hope you will first join me in thanking the Antioch High School Wind Ensemble incredible performance, and we look forward to hearing from you a little bit later. Well, before we get started this morning, I want to take a moment to acknowledge a day that's deeply meaningful for so many of us here in Nashville. Today marks 15 years since the 2010 flood, a time that brought incredible devastation to our city. As a meteorologist, I remember tracking the storm, watching the rainfall in record amounts, over 13 inches in just 2 days' time. Record after record fell by the wayside. The Cumberland River was flowing through downtown streets and buildings, and I will never forget the scene of a portable classroom floating down the river, which was actually Interstate 24. But more than the weather, what I remember most is the strength of this community. We came together in a way that embodied the strength of our city, and today we honor those we lost. The neighborhoods forever changed, and the resilience that still defines who we are. So let's welcome a few of our first responders who look out for us every day. I now ask that you please stand, and gentlemen, remove your hat as we welcome Metro Nashville Police and Fire Joint Color Guard for the presentation of colors, and Metro Council President Pro Tem Sandra Sepulveda, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And please remain standing until the colors are retired.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you, Councilwoman Sepulveda. We would like to welcome to the stage from Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, Pastor Jimmy Green, so he can offer for us a few words this morning in our invocation. Pastor Greer is a retired sergeant of the Metropolitan Nashville Davidson County Police Department, where he served more than 30 years as a patrol officer, criminal investigator, counselor, and the first African-American chaplain.
Shall we pray? All-wise and gracious Father, we beseech your blessings upon the city of Nashville on this day. We bow, God, to thank you for the privilege of living here. We pray for those who give leadership to our city. We ask your blessings upon Mayor Freddie O'Connell, the Metro Council, the employees of Davidson County who help make our city great. We pray for your guidance and wisdom as they lead us in continuing to make Nashville a wonderful city in which to live. As we work together as a community, may we all work to make Nashville a wonderful city in which to live. In the name of the Father, the Son Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, we ask these blessings. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Greer, for those words and for your leadership in this city. Up next, if you've attended a State of the Metro in the past, you know that it's always a head-turning moment when we welcome our Youth Poet Laureate to the stage. The Nashville Youth Poet Laureate program is made possible through the partnership of the Office of Mayor Freddie O'Connell, Nashville Public Libraries, Studio NPL, Nashville Public Library Foundation, Metro Human Relations Commission, Urban Word, and Southern Word. Violet Ray Hansen, a junior at Hume Fogg Academic Magnet, is the 2025 Nashville Youth Poet Laureate. Violet has spent her writing years spreading encouragement through her mental health experiences as a teenager in the modern era. Through her poetry, she hopes to inspire others to speak up when they have something to say. Please welcome the 2025 Nashville Youth Poet Laureate, Violet Ray Hansen.
My papa was an army man. Well, he was never in the army per se, but he was just as strong as any man that was enlisted. From riding bikes from dawn till dusk, he became just as strong as any man that was twice his age. My papa was just a boy when he saw death. Just a boy when he was characterized a murderer at the age of 6. The only reason my papa never became an army man was because he saw death too quick. Death at the hands of a belittling mother, death at the hands of an abusive father, death in the hands of his own as he beat down a boy twice his age. My mama told me that once I grow old like her, I'd wished I hadn't been so hateful. That once I get an adult job and bills that never end, covering my dining table in debt letters and pouring water worry down the family tree, I'd wished I hadn't wished to grow up. Though I don't remember asking to grow up. I don't remember asking to know all the things that I do, because when I hear the ticking of the clock in the other room, years down, doors ahead, I'd have to cut off my own ear to keep my sanity. to keep the hands of time from clasping at my throat and pushing down on my backbone, rubbing bone, hand pushing back, heart clenching, chest clock ticking down, breathing final breath. I held a gun once. Of its sorrows in my hand, and despite knowing the safety was on, I could never seem to feel safe around a firearm. I think I'm more scared of death than I am growing up. Though I suppose that those things go hand in hand. We live just to die. We create for our creations to decay. We kill just to feel alive. I don't want to be a part of a statistic. I can feel the lives of 47,000 people in my hands and 650 shootings. It's heavy, though it only gets heavier as the years go by. It's 47,000 last year, maybe it's 50 this, yet I can't seem to see how our legislators don't see it. Are they clueless of its burden, or would they rather fight fire with fire, 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 fire? Bullseye, here's your prize. The burden of 1,663 student lives. Was it worth it? Was it worth your every penny? Was it worth all the money that you spent to win the ticket to your seat? My mama once told me that after I saw death, I'd wished I hadn't been so hateful. That once I realized that my tongue could be the last thing that someone feels gnawing at the back of their ears, I'd wished I'd had held it back. Spewing the truth seems to make you cynical, but I'd rather be hypercritical than lie, saying that I'd rather arm a teacher than disarm a nation. That I would rather be a problem solver than a preventer. That I would rather fight fire with fire. But my papa once told me that I should be timing my actions. That I should be ticking off a bucket list and living every day to the fullest, because death always lingers. Death never sleeps because man doesn't. Man wants you dead just as much as you want to live. Man wants his guns just as much as you want your life. Man wants you dead just as much as you want your rights. So tick down the days. Tick, 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 tick. Will it be the gun of man or of time that takes the next life, that takes mine? Because I have dreams. And so did the 3,000 kids that came before me, though I fear that I overstepped my boundaries as a woman, as a student, as a child who doesn't know any better. Because I fear death. And maybe it's just because of how common it comes at my age that I do.
Violet Ray, your passion, it's inspiring. Well, before I introduce Vice Mayor Henderson to the gavel in this special meeting of the Metro Council for the purpose of the mayor's address, we will hear once again from the Antioch High School Wind Ensemble under the direction of Dr. Frank Zimmermer. The AHS Wind Ensemble has a history of superior ratings in concert performance festivals, including the 2018, 2023, and 2025 ASBDA Award of Distinction. The Wind Ensemble has hosted guest conductors and clinicians from various local, state, and national universities, as well as collaborating with musicians and conductors from Colombia, Peru, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Panama, and Costa Rica. Students in the AHS Wind Ensemble have been involved with the Blair Academy from scholarship lessons, and in 2024 performed a side-by-side concert with the Vanderbilt Wind Symphony in Ingram Hall here in Nashville. The ensemble prides itself in programming music from new and underrepresented band composers in the wide band and the wind band community. Ladies and gentlemen, the Antioch High School Wind Ensemble. Wow, thank you for that beautiful performance once again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's call this meeting to order. To preside, let's welcome Nashville's Vice Mayor and the President of the Metropolitan Council of Nashville and Davidson County, Angie Henderson.
Good morning. I'm Vice Mayor Angie Avery Henderson, President of the Metropolitan Council of Nashville and Davidson County. It is my pleasure to welcome you to a special meeting of the Metro Council. This is always an important day for our city, and council members and I are grateful to Nashvillians, the mayor, fellow elected officials, and everyone working for and with the Metro government joining us today, whether that's online at work or at home or here at the main library. Council's regular meeting place is the Metro Council Chamber on the second floor of the historic courthouse and City Hall on the public square just a few blocks from here. On the dais in that chamber is where this gavel usually sits, but once a year, the gavel travels. And several members of the council joined me and the gavel in walking to this meeting today. Would all Metro Council members please rise to be recognized? This council of 40 members is 18 months into our 4-year term together. Half are embarking on their second budget season, another half their 6th. For one member and me, it is our 10th. And for our most tenured council member, Councilwoman at Large Berkeley Allen, it is her 14th Metro budget season. Councilwoman at Large Delisha Porterfield is serving a second year as chair of the Budget and Finance Committee of the Council. It is an honor to lead and support the members of this city's legislative body. The Metro Charter requires that this special meeting of the Council be in a Metro government building, and this is certainly one of our city's most beautiful civic spaces. Libraries are rightly beloved and important places all across America. And in Nashville, the downtown library has long been the home for exceptional children's programming. Some of my fondest childhood memories are riding a city bus with my parents to the downtown library to find a week's worth of new books and watch a Tom Titchener puppet show. The West End bus line of my childhood is still the same line that I ride today when I choose to move by bus for trips to Midtown and downtown for work, museums, parks, restaurants, or a musical or sporting event. I am grateful that with the passage of Mayor O'Connell's Choose How You Move Transit Improvement Program, that bus route and many others will have increasingly frequent service. Nashville's voters chose to invest in themselves and a brighter future for our city. Today, yes. Indeed. Today is also a day to look to the future and think about our civic investments. Will the meeting please come to order? This is the annual special meeting of the Metropolitan Council for the Mayor's State of Metro Address. This is the 62nd address, the first having been delivered in 1963. Without objection, we will suspend Rule 31 regarding the Council's regular order of business, the Pledge of Allegiance, and the invocation already having been delivered, and move straight to recognizing the leader we are all waiting to hear, the Honorable Freddie O'Connell, Mayor of Nashville and Davidson County. Mayor.
Well, good morning, everyone. And to Vice Mayor Henderson, Pro Tem Sepulveda, Budget and Finance Chair Delisha Porterfield, and our entire Metro Council representing the great neighborhoods of the city of Nashville, to my colleagues in public service across local, state, and federal government, and especially the dedicated Metro workforce, including my team in the mayor's office, To our special guests, including the Consul General of Japan, Shinji Watanabe, and our neighbors who led us in spirit and song this morning. And to my fellow Nashvillians, thank you for everything you do to make this a great city, one with a great library system, and thank you for being here today. Welcome to the Downtown Library of Nashville Public Library. For 62 years, mayors have delivered a State of Metro address on behalf of the metropolitan government of Nashville and Davidson County. And in each one, you can see a reflection of our city's values, successes, challenges, and opportunities. The locations of these addresses have also had meaning. This building is a choice Nashville made years ago, an investment in our future, a place of discovery that connects people to worlds beyond these walls. It's a manifestation of community will, people rallying behind the belief that the city deserves a great library system. Government didn't do it alone. We started a conversation that focused the public sector, business, community organizations, philanthropists, and residents on a dream we could build together. As a friend once reminded me, Nashville is bigger than Metro. We're sitting in a dream that partnership built, something bigger than government could have accomplished alone, and it's a dream in motion. As this building came to life, we made investments across the other branches in the system. We've been extending its reach beyond these walls ever since in places like the new Donaldson branch, the Nashville After Zone Alliance, and new offerings that let us check out artwork, health equipment, laptops, musical instruments, vinyl records, or even seeds for your garden. And now, thanks to Dolly Parton, our Nashville Public Library, and the Nashville Public Library Foundation's Begin Bright campaign, we're about to extend the reach of this building and the power of reading where it's needed most for maximum impact, so that more of our children can access the city and the joy of reading and all its benefits. We're going to have little libraries full of books from Dolly's Imagination Library at every child care center in Nashville. No other U.S. city has accomplished what the foundation is trying to do here. Begin Bright starts with 30 child care centers. They'll add about 50 each month after that. The CARTS books and training app for pre-K readers will be rolling into child care centers starting this fall. Every book in the little libraries will be available for checkout at NPL or at home through the Imagination Library. Metro jumped in early to help kickstart the funding with a pledge of $1 million that I'm fulfilling today in our recommended fiscal year 2026 operating budget. So if you see Library Director Terry Luke, a member of the library team or a member of the Great Library Board of Directors, please thank them for all of their work and for hosting us all today. Terry, thank you. And I hope you'll consider supporting the Begin Bright campaign. The library says something about us. It reveals our educational priorities, certainly, but also our path to getting things done. We believe in partnership, in win-win possibilities, and the power of conversations to spur action. This is a place where I've brought my daughters to see puppet shows just like I came to them, watched former mayors lead citywide reads, and had the opportunity myself to read excerpts from some of my favorite books. Books like Strong Inside, the story about Perry Wallace that offers an important glimpse of sports and society anchored here in Nashville. In the final chapter, there's a gorgeous illustration of humility and hope in Perry's office. Here's the description of a poster that isn't even displayed. In this simple poster, the whole story. High aspirations, it reads, and above those words, a photograph, a boy holding a basketball, looking up at what appears to be an impossibly tall goal. We must not lose sight of our high aspirations despite the challenges of the time. Our response to the chaos of the moment is the competence of the city. This is Nashville's story. We believe in the job of local government, its capacity to respond to the needs of residents and broker important community conversations. We're focused on affordability and quality of life, a better Nashville for Nashvillians. That's the spirit that motivated our transition into office 19 months ago, and it's the same spirit that drives Metro departments today and all the days between. But the world has certainly changed since September 2023. This is a moment to reflect on these changes, to take a deep breath and reckon with what we've lost and recognize what we've gained. Earlier this year, we grieved the loss of a bright young woman. We grieved with her family and friends, the Antioch High School community, with all of Antioch. We grieved as a city. To Principal Dr. Nikisha Burnett and the Wind Ensemble from Antioch High, thank you for being with us today. We're with you too, and we won't forget Jocelyn. And we also won't forget that it wasn't the first time in recent years we've lost young people to gun violence at school. We've also lost great public servants like North Precinct Commander Anthony McLean and District Fire Chief Bobby Connolly, philanthropists Steve Turner, Bill Freeman, and Jim Ayers. Every year I read the in memoriam issue of the Nashville Scene, and I think it's worth a little heartbreak because it's important to feel the memories of the people who mattered to us. But we've gained some things too as the community moves some long conversations into action this past year. And it is worth a few moments to celebrate what we all accomplished in November with Choose How You Move, our transit improvement program. We've been called a beacon for the country because hundreds of thousands of us came together to secure dedicated funding for transit and infrastructure. 2 out of every 3 of us voted for this generational change maker. And so thank you to the Metro Council for the review, and thank you to voters for your trust and confidence. In our recommended budget, you'll see the reflection of Nashville's first and Tennessee's first dedicated funding for transportation improvements. Choose How You Move is now in motion with that funding. Our 15-person advisory committee on transportation is seated with appointments selected by both Metro Council and our office. Our first Chief Program Officer, Sabrina Sussman, joins us full-time in a few weeks to ensure the program's successful implementation, but she also joins us today. Thank you, Sabrina. And beginning July 6th, WeGo is increasing the service frequency of several routes, expanding WeGo Access, a service for rider with disabilities, to the weekends for the first time. And later this year, we'll launch a low-income fare program. Because we didn't want to wait, 11 foundational projects are not only funded, they're started, and among them, we're investing in safety. Earlier this year, we announced MMPD Captain Brian Williams as our first MMPD WeGo Transit Liaison. Captain Williams represents the first step toward building a transit security division at MMPD, and this year's budget includes funding to begin standing up that new division by adding officers to provide security on board transit vehicles and in transit centers as part of the new division. With all of these things together, we've chosen to move. On the other side of the river, you see the first buildings rising from the ground and a long dream taking shape on the East Bank. While the new Titan Stadium is on track for 2027, new neighborhoods are also in progress. Imagine East Bank was one of the biggest community input exercises we've ever undertaken as a city, and we're excited to work with all of you and many partners to bring that vision to life. The new East Bank Chief Executive Officer, Ben York, and our East Bank Development Authority are in place. The Landings apartment buildings at the River North Urban Waterfront District are filling up with the neighborhood's first residents. Our master development agreement locks in a century of affordable housing on Metro-owned property. Transit and East Bank are 2 big things that don't happen without help. Partnership itself is a strategy and a choice. Residents are partners too, and we choose to listen to you and respond to your needs, because customer service matters and the little things sometimes matter most. It's said that we campaign in poetry, but we govern in prose, and there are great sentences in governing. It's refreshing to hear so many people say some version of, "I've never seen a snowplow on my street, but I did this year." Then there's this from Christy Pruitt-Haynes. She lives in Donaldson, is legally blind, and she estimates the expansion of WeGo service for people with disabilities to the weekend will save her about $400 a month. Here's what she said. Programs like Access on Demand show the concern the city has for all of its residents. A city that sees and serves a small percentage is going to do everything it can for the larger group. She's right, and we will. Because here's the thing about little things. They're not little things. Sometimes they're everything. And that includes helping our unhoused neighbors find their home. This past year, thanks to the work of many previous mayors and compassionate residents, we celebrated the city's first public permanent supportive housing facility. And we remember the man whose name is on the building, which is now at capacity with residents and opportunities. Charlie would be proud, and I was certainly proud to help cut the ribbon on Strobel House. There are also immediate needs. We've been leaning into customer service and the core responsibilities of local government. We filled 14,000 potholes already this year, cleared snow on 2,400 miles of road, including 642 miles of road that had never seen a plow before. We supported our schools in smart ways, and our students responded with the best graduation rate in Metro Schools history last year. We've supported our first responders, engaged more second responders, and crime is significantly down year over year in Nashville, both total crime and across categories, many of them double-digit percentage points. As we try to ensure Nashville is a city where everyone thrives, we pay attention to safety in many ways. Pedestrian deaths are down. Opioid deaths are down. Deaths of homeless residents are down. And these trends are by action, not by accident. Local government has to work. The work of Metro touches each of our lives in various ways each day. But we've lost a reliable partner in the federal government, and that's impacting our community's work on many levels. Estimates reveal nearly 400 Nashville nonprofits are at risk of losing funding to the tune of $1.5 billion. Vanderbilt University Medical Center has already revealed that they're cutting their budget by as much as $250 million. And Metro has been ghosted on awarded funds of tens of millions of dollars. But we're not standing idly by as the federal government unlawfully tries to cut funding that's legally ours. We've told them we'll see you in court. This is money that hard-working Nashville taxpayers have already sent to Washington. It's money that hard-working Metro workforce team members have submitted applications for, and what the White House is unlawfully telling us it's not coming back. But Congress said it should, and we're going to fight for it. And we've got a great team to lead us with Director Wally Dietz and the 57 professionals in the Metro Department of Law. Because we know we're on the right track. This year's Nashville poll from the Vanderbilt Center of the Study of Democratic Institutions was released a few weeks ago with numbers that reflect our spirit of optimism and confidence, even in turbulent times. More and more people think Nashville is moving in the right direction. It reminds me what a special place this is and what we built together. And we get to work together to protect what we have and make it better. I want all of us to have more of the things we need. Schools we're proud of, services we trust, safety we deserve. Local government isn't where we do moonshots. It's where we set up kids like the Hillsborough Boroughs to take their best shots, whether that's in the classroom or on the court. And when we do it right, they come home state champions for the first time in school history. But they also graduate, ready for career or college. And if we do it really right, those students have stable housing, great after-school options, and safe and easy ways to get to and from school and all the things we hope they appreciate about growing up in Nashville. To that end, the budget we're recommending today is about providing stability, resilience, and a baseline of normal in abnormal times. Today, I'm filing our recommended budget for operating budget for fiscal year 2026, and I want to thank the team in the Department of Finance, led by Finance Director Janine Reed, for working with my team to put together a fiscally responsible budget. Because people rely on local government to get stuff done. And our annual operating budget determines how much we get done and how we pay for it. In Tennessee, there's really only one meaningful way for local governments to do that. Property assessments determine the value of your property, and the value of your property combined with our property tax rate determines how much you pay in overall property taxes. This is an appraisal year, our first since 2021. And since then, many areas have seen significant increases in property value. The costs of serving those areas have gone up too. Building schools, patching potholes, picking up trash, and keeping people safe are all more expensive. This is a challenging budget to prepare because there are so many financial variables. Our national economic outlook is murky. We're phasing out hundreds of millions of dollars of one-time federal COVID relief funding. And we're experiencing an unpredictable overall federal funding outlook. But we have to be careful not to get hung up only on cost. We're trying to responsibly work backward from understanding our needs. Just as Choose How You Move offered a transit improvement program, our recommended budget is really a community improvement program where we provide the funding necessary to deliver quality schools, core services, and safe neighborhoods. We know it's important to govern in predictable ways, and that includes accounting for the increased costs of governing and rising expectations for the quality of services. So our Office of Management and Budget and the Department of Finance work closely and carefully with metro departments to understand staffing and resource needs. And we've stayed focused on a budget that delivers on the basics, continues what works, pays our public servants fairly, and delivers on the biggest needs and concerns of Nashvillians, including housing affordability. I know it's complicated talking about appraisals, equalization, and the impact on tax, especially because we know two things are true at once. Some Nashvillians will pay more in property taxes, even as we're setting the lowest overall property tax rate in Nashville since 1972. It will also be the lowest property tax rate among the big cities in Tennessee and one of the lowest among top American cities. The low rate helps, but it won't totally offset the market realities of the past 5 years, the last time the tax rate was increased. The median home in Davidson County is now 45% more valuable than it was when last appraised, and that means when we set the new tax rate, some of us will have increased costs. For any resident of the city, it can be easy to miss or overlook all the good ways local government impacts your life, but very easy to see how it impacts your bottom line, especially when your paycheck doesn't seem to stretch as far as it used to. And it's not just the cost of governing going up, it's the cost of everything we buy. That's why this is a basic common sense budget that follows a 2025 budget in which we asked every metro department to reduce spending. But I believe in the core services this budget allows us to continue. So I want to lay out to you our focus on schools we need, services we trust, and the safety we deserve. Our recommended budget fundamentally continues what works and invests what we need most, just like we did for Metro schools last year when we extended good pandemic-era programs making a difference. But that bridge was built to keep us from going over a cliff for just a year, and now we're strengthening and funding these programs to continue beyond. And a budget is fundamentally both things at the same time, the expression of need and the way to pay for it. Many of you undoubtedly walked past folks this morning who believe that property tax going up for any Nashvilleian by any amount is unnecessary, just more government spending. These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency. What they won't tell you is what they're proposing means we wouldn't fund our school services and safety. We wouldn't open a new police precinct in Southeast Nashville, wouldn't have the new police flex unit shrink the amount of time you have to wait when there's an emergency, wouldn't expand safety in schools. But I refuse to tell our students we have to sacrifice their safety or that we have to pull nurses out of schools. I refuse to tell them they shouldn't be safe in the classroom. I refuse to strip away mental health supports we already offer. And everyone deserves trash pickup to happen when we say it will. Together, we resolve that a great city must move forward and stand for its vision with solemn duty and a recognition that our government is chartered to do important things that touch our lives daily. So our recommended budget includes a historic investment for schools. This increase to support education and services for our students, a 13% increase over last year, demonstrates our dedication to serving our growing community and their families. With federal emergency funding ending, it was extremely important to build a fiscal bridge and continue these services through the annual budget. College and career readiness support, tutoring and summer learning programs, mental health support, Community Achieves, and Safety Ambassadors are several of the programs supported through this funding. These programs have made a unique difference in the lives of students and their families. The additional investment in schools will continue to support our teachers and grow services such as exceptional education for children with disabilities, English learner student support, annual textbook funding, the Classroom Associate Program, and security. This budget lets us keep a nurse in every school, and MMPD will add another 23 new school resource officers to enhance safety. Like so many of our investments, we've seen our work with schools paying off. In 2024, Metro schools had the highest graduation rate on record. But in addition to that, of the 100 largest urban school districts, Metro schools ranked 4th in math and 9th in reading for post-pandemic recovery, was one of 5 districts to show up in the top 10 list for both subject areas, and the only district to make both lists 2 years in a row. We are continuing to lay the foundation in this budget for Metro schools to grow and plan for the future of Metro, our children. As the son of a teacher, as a former Metro school student myself, and now as a parent of 2 Metro school students, and as mayor, I am so grateful to our Metro school staff and board for the work they do to support our children and for all the sacrifices they make, seen and unseen. Thank you. Education is this budget's biggest investment, and it should be. So thank you to our Metro Council members for their consideration and ongoing support of our public schools. Thanks to Chair Freddie and the members of the Metro Nashville Board of Education for their leadership. And certainly thanks to our Director of Schools in 2025, a winner of the Athena Award, Dr. Adrian Battle. Now, if we value their work and our students' futures, we do everything in our power to keep them safe. If anyone feels unsafe in our city, we know we still have work to do. For them, for all of us, we must stay focused on the progress of safety. I recently signed Executive Order 53, creating Nashville's first Office of Youth Safety. It's an idea that came from our young people, but they had help. We recognize Councilmember Delicia Porterfield, Juvenile Court Clerk Lionel Matthews, and the Southern Movement Committee for leading the charge on that initiative. And please join me in welcoming our first director for that office, Phyllis Hildreth. The budget we're recommending makes a significant investment in public safety. We're adding support in new places and new ways, a new transit security division, a new Southeast precinct, and expansion of our new flex unit. What we call the D detail is effectively working for us as a force multiplier by helping police precincts across the city and going where they're needed most. Since launching on February 1st, officers working this new detail have been the primary response unit on more than 1,800 calls. And overall police response times countywide are down an average of 10.3 minutes so far in 2025. Through the first quarter of this year, violent crime in Nashville was down 8% year over year, along with double-digit decreases in auto theft, aggravated assault, and street robbery. Both violent and property crime are down. We know these numbers are little consolation to any victim of crime, but we also want to acknowledge progress and success. We're expanding the REACH program, which pairs Nashville fire medics with clinicians from the Mental Health Cooperative. In 2024, 84% of the people we served through REACH avoided an ambulance ride, 70% avoided a trip to the emergency department, and those are two bills that they didn't have to pay. We see progress on accountability, including an unprecedented agreement between the Metro Nashville Police Department and Community Review Board, and the revision of sexual harassment and misconduct policies that will benefit all Metro employees. We also see faster response times, and that's thanks in part to Metro's first responders, our 911 dispatchers at the Department of Emergency Communications. Year to date, you can applaud for them. And here's why. Year to date, they've answered 95% of calls in less than 15 seconds, well exceeding national standards, and helped save 294 lives. That same Vanderbilt poll shows strong public approval ratings for our first responders who risk their own safety to protect ours. For that and so much more, I want to recognize Nashville Fire and OEM Director Chief Will Swan, Police Chief John Drake, Department of Emergency Communications Director Steve Martini, and their teams. Thanks to all of our first responders. Thank you for keeping us safe, and I also want to welcome the first commander of Metro Nashville Police Department's Southeast Precinct, Carlos Lara. Thank you all for your work. Safety takes many forms. It requires many partners, and I'm encouraged to see the impact of our collaborative work in mental health support and overdose prevention. We lost fewer people to suspected drug overdoses in 2024, a nearly 27% drop in fatalities. That's thanks in part to cohesive strategies from our Office of Nightlife and the Behavioral Health and Wellness Advisory Council. And it's also thanks to partnership and proactive response, as MNPD has worked with partners to recently install naloxone in entertainment venues across Nashville. We also lost fewer people experiencing homelessness in 2024. The Office of Homeless Services marked a 45% reduction in deaths over the past 2 years, thanks in large part to the coordinated efforts between Metro and community partners. We've now got the best data we've ever had on our unhoused neighbors, and it's making a difference. OHS and those community partners housed nearly 2,000 people last year. We've talked about schools and safety, and now let's talk about services, the third leg of our community improvement program. We at Metro pick up the trash, fix street lights, build and repair sidewalks, maintain the parks and community centers, fill the potholes, and help residents and businesses rebuild when disaster strikes. We respond when you call for help. Through the first 9 months of the current fiscal year, about 230,000 requests came to Hub Nashville through the website, the app, or importantly, by dialing 311. Many of those calls were resolved quickly on the first call, and all of them kept 911 clear for emergencies, which helped save lives. And for reliability, our budget includes additional staff to continue delivering on our goal to create a separate standalone department to manage our solid waste. We've got legislation that will be in front of Metro Council at their next meeting that will complete this step, all in the name of greater reliability and better service for trash pickup. The budget, you can applaud for that too. The budget also includes support for health and wellness in Nashville, like Nashville Strong Babies, HIV and STI prevention and treatment, vaccinations, mobile health programs, mental health support, continued investment in Nashville General Hospital, and nighttime codes inspectors, and much more. We're providing operational support for the fundamentals that touch the lives of our residents each day. Embedded into this budget are the basics we rely on: schools, parks, and libraries, water service, trash collection, road maintenance, police, fire, and medical. Basic, fundamental, vital. We're in the customer service business, and these are just a few of the things our departments are doing that help Nashvillians move, work, and grow. And one more deep breath. You heard Lisa reference this. Today marks 15 years since the 2010 flood when Nashville experienced a pair of days of record-breaking rain. The May storms claimed more than a dozen lives, and the resulting flood impacted hundreds more. We've also just recently passed the 5-year mark since a devastating tornado took 2 lives here and did undescribable damage. That same week, Nashville's first case of COVID was declared, starting what became a difficult chapter in our global history that has ongoing local implications today. We ended the year with a devastating bombing. In each case, I remember the many heroes and helpers who stepped up to lend a hand. First responders gave way to second responders. Neighbors helped neighbors. More than help, it offered hope. It's a truly unique demonstration of community I hope we never lose as a city. So as we reflect on the last several years, I hope we can remember those we've lost, those we've gained, continue to be kind and look out for one another. Not everyone can be a first responder, but we can all be second responders. We can choose to be responsible for each other. That's how Nashville helps, our partnership with one another. And that's the optimism I see in this city. I see the same optimism in the data from Imagine Nashville, which last year concluded the largest community listening project in city history. Their survey partner has done similar studies in over 100 communities and said Nashville has the highest scores they've ever seen on people's sense of belonging. And that includes very high marks from our foreign-born community, which is now 1 out of every 7 of us. But there's a big disparity between who says I belong and who feels like they might not. In the Imagine Nashville study, over half of low-income families said they do not feel a sense of inclusion here, followed by older adults, the LGBTQ+ community, and Black residents. But we want them to feel included. So as a next step, I'm excited to announce a new long-term partnership with the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, led by Hal Cato, which will be joining Metro in strengthening our sense of belonging as we work together to take what we learned from Imagine Nashville and move it into reality, a great public-private partnership. The state of Metro today is where many cities would like to be. School performance is up, city services are improving, crime is down. People want to be here, and we want to make it easier to stay. And that's much of the work we're going to be leaning into even harder starting today. The median home price in Nashville has risen to almost $500,000. That's more than 5 times greater than the region's median income. So Nashville, it's time to move on housing. We do need to take a critical look at our housing codes and zoning. 10 years ago, we came together and explored the tension between growth and preservation. We engaged in a comprehensive general plan of the city, Nashville Next. Every community reflected on its own capacity for growth, and we concluded that we have some natural centers where growth could and should occur. Nashville Next was a consequential project for the city. I've invited Lucy Kempf, our planning director, to revisit Nashville Next at the 10-year mark, to reflect on what we got right, how we should prepare for the next chapter of our growth, and how it affects what we preserve, because we can't afford to preserve the high cost of housing. We've expanded our housing toolbox significantly over the past year, and we're using every tool we already have, awarding millions of dollars from the Barnes Affordable Housing Trust Fund to create and preserve 1,300 affordable homes in 2024, launching the Catalyst Fund to provide fast, flexible loans to preserve affordable rentals that would otherwise be lost to the market, unlocking the potential of faith-based institutions through partnerships that have already led to Clark UMC's first affordable housing project, a block off of Jefferson Street, the Northview housing development for seniors with Born Again Church, and Inspiritus's new affordable housing for seniors and people living with disabilities that just broke ground in my own neighborhood. We're also going after other sources of funding everywhere we can, including winning $5 million through HUD's first ever Pathways to Removing Obstacles to Housing program, and building on the success of permanent supportive housing at Strobel House for the people whose housing challenges are the greatest. And now we have a new tool. Just in time for this address and the budget, our planning department is moving forward with a unified housing strategy. This strategy offers a lot of history, context, and analysis, and gives us a basis for action for the next decade to help us avoid a deepening crisis. To be clear, we as a community will need to find room and funding for 90,000 homes over the next decade if we want to have any hope of enough people having secure, stable housing at any income level in this city. But for the first time, thanks to the Unified Housing Strategy, we've got a complete picture of the need and how Metro can participate in and fund parts of the actions. And in our recommended budget, we've absorbed the strategy and quantified our local fiscal commitment. I'm recommending a total commitment of $45 million from Metro in our first year of implementation. And that includes continuing investment in the Barnes Fund, increasing capacity for the Office of Homeless Services, funding anti-displacement work to help older residents make needed home repairs, expanding a financial incentive to encourage new construction, and substantial rehabilitation of affordable housing that has already created or preserved 10,000 affordable homes, and we're accepting a recommendation from the strategy to hire a full-time housing coordinator in the mayor's office. In addition to that, continuing to strengthen partnerships, I'm excited that the Community Foundation, who've already been leading on setup and launch of the Catalyst Fund, will be pulling together a group of experts who know we need to move quickly and making sure we do, because Metro can't do this alone. And it's imperative that this strategy is understood as a unified housing strategy. We need our private sector partners, not just at the table, but at the bank. This is a big project. It is a project that requires partnership and community will, but those are the same things that delivered passage of a generational transit improvement program in November, and the same stuff that brought this building to life. At that time, we rallied around the idea that a city with a great library is a great city. Today, we need to channel that can-do spirit and civic pride to meet a need that has been growing, because great housing options also yield a great city. So let's make that happen. If we get all of this right, the way we move, how Metro works, and coming together to celebrate the place we live and welcome others who've discovered it, Nashville will become an ever easier place to stay, a place we are strong inside, a place with high aspirations. Over the holidays, my brother and I started reading Hanif Abdurraqib's remarkable book, There's Always This Year, which you can, of course, check out from NPL. His reflections on place and staying and leaving and coming back are beautiful and tragic and hopeful all at once. He says, there are few things more intimate than the history made when a person touches a place, runs a hand along it for decades at a time. Few things more intimate than the history made when a place touches you too, if you are open to it. Let's not let difficulty or disappointment in trying times when the world makes less sense or offers sudden new challenges be either the thief of joy or the eraser of progress. Let's be open to letting Nashville continue to be a place that reminds us why we stay, and open to making it easier for others to do so. Thank you for your partnership, your friendship, and your belief in a better Nashville for Nashvillian. Thank you to my parents and the first Dr. Whitney Boone for joining us here today. I've lived here all my life, and it is my life's honor doing this work with you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mayor, for an excellent and inspiring address. Council members, is there a motion to adjourn the special meeting? We are adjourned, and I ask everyone to please remain with us for a final blessing for the city.
Well, thank you, Vice Mayor Henderson, and thank you, Mayor O'Connell, for your leadership and your vision for this great city. Our final guest this morning joins us to offer a blessing for the city. Please join me in welcoming the very Reverend Serena Sides, Dean and Rector at Christ Church Cathedral.
Good morning. I'm Serena Sides, the Dean and Rector of Christ Church Cathedral. Now, Dean and Rector are terms particular to my denomination. They mean that I'm the lead priest and pastor of the cathedral, and we are the Episcopal Cathedral in downtown Nashville, located at Broadway and 9th Avenue North. You may know something about the Episcopal Church from two of our more famous clergy, and I stand on their shoulders today. One is Bishop Michael Curry, who preached about the power of God's love at the royal wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in 2018 in London, England. The other is Bishop Marianne Budde of Washington, D.C. She, in January of this year, in her sermon, asked the President of the United States, in the name of God's love for each and every one of us, to have mercy on those who are marginalized and afraid. You may remember those videos. There is a theme in their preaching and in the Episcopal tradition. God is love. And God calls us to do the hard work of loving one another. And it is in this vein that I ask you to pray with me to close today's meeting. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, bring your blessing upon our city, Nashville, and teach us to live together in your love. Guide our leaders in the ways of justice and peace, and lead us in the paths of righteousness for your name's sake. Gracious and loving God, bring your blessing upon our city of Nashville and tend the sick, soothe the suffering, comfort the afflicted, and rejoice with the joyous. Gracious and loving God, bring your blessing upon our city of Nashville, and may we find hope in divided times, rest for the weary, light in the darkness, and new life in you. All this we pray in the name of our God, who unites and blesses us all. Amen.
And friends and neighbors, this concludes the 62nd State of the Metro Address. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Lisa Spencer, and it's been an honor to be your MC this morning. Have a blessed day and be kind to one another.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.